Here we go. Now, if you're watching this video live or the posted stream, if I look extremely pale or sound a little different or just look bad, I've been in bed literally about 30 minutes up until this. I've been in bed for about 7 hours, so I have a fever. I'm sick. I'm tired. But I am dedicated to getting these news stories to you. We got to push this for you guys. That's how much I love you guys. So don't mind me. I'm going to try pushing through this, and immediately after this, I'm going straight to bed. Now, understand this. The French military have sort of been checkmated by Niger, Africa. At the beginning of this coup, Niger, Africa has looked like the violent ones. They looked like they want to instigate a war. ECOWAS says we'll go up in there. Niger responded with, give us 3 years, and then you know what? We will figure out this coup. It's not going to necessarily be a coup. We'll get a new president in there, whatever. Now, here's where the French messed up. The French now are looking like the bad guys big time because the French are the ones who really implemented this democracy to Niger, and Niger is using the government that the French set up for Niger. They're using protest. They're doing whatever it takes to get the French out, not with violence. And not only that, Niger opened up their airspace to allow more travel throughout the country, even for the French. And we'll get into that in a second because there's a little bit of speculation when we start to talk about opening an airspace for a country who utilizes drones to look for militants. That's another story, but let's go ahead and see some updated images of protests against the French troops.
Another show of force as thousands of people gathered in Niger's capital Niamey this Sunday. Many of them were calling for the departure of French forces. Some of the troops are stationed here in this military base. It's been the epicenter of the protests, which started Friday. They come in the context of rising tensions between France, the former colonial power, and Niger, whose leader was overthrown in a coup in July. Relations between the two countries.
Again, and I keep saying this, the French want to sit there and act like everything's okay. If your military base or embassy looks like this, where there's holes in the windows and there's burn marks or charred marks, that should be enough evidence that there might be an issue here. Now, I see where both sides are, where France wants to stay and where Niger wants them out. But nonetheless, for the most part, the protests have been peaceful. In fact, with these protests over here, the military of Niger is not allowing the public to step up or to get close enough to touch this French military base. Again, showing they want peace and to show they want a smooth transition of power.
Countries have taken a turn for the worse since the coup. And last week, the junta ordered the French ambassador to leave, an edict which so far has fallen on deaf ears. Speaking to France 24 on Sunday,
somebody just gave me a $2 donation. Thank you for throwing off. I appreciate you much. Again, I am extremely sick, but we're going to get through this. I am like dying inside, but I really want to get this news to you and to give you guys a bit of an outside perspective of where the French messed up. In fact, this is the perfect segue. So Niger junta reopens airspace after coup transport ministry. Again, understand this. Couple of implications here when you look at reopening the airspace. Understand, especially from the United States is in Niger deploying drones and training local militant groups, good militant groups, other African nations, and they used the hub of the U.S. air bases in Niger to train. It's easier to get equipment in there, to use drone assets. Now, this whole time where the airspace was closed, oh, we have another $2 donation. Don't poop sign right now. I'm going to try my best not to. I'm extremely sick. Again, we are trucking through this. If it sounds like I just ran a marathon, I am pushing through this. I love all you guys, though. And again, this video does get posted in case you want to go back and watch. Back to my point. Hey, we have a $10 donation. Take a knee, drink water, young soldier. Thank you, 11 Bravo, and thank you for your service. I appreciate that $10 donation. Again, understand, while this airspace has been totally closed this entire time, that means drone assets were not being implemented to fight militant groups, to do reconnaissance on the border of Niger and Mali and Burkina Faso, where a lot of action was going down. So it's a good thing that the airspace opens. Good and bad. It's a double-edged sword. Right now, it's not good for the French because it shows that, hey, Niger wants to be peaceful. They want diplomacy. Meanwhile, I'm just going to be honest, the French have sort of shown a tonality of, if you mess with the French, we're going to send a quick reaction force. We're ready to fight. ECOWAS is ready to fight. Okay, Niger says, well, we're not here to fight. We're going to open up our airspace and now allow for transport, to allow for travel. Understand there's a lot of French citizens who live in Niger and they like to go back and forth between the countries. Nigeria's military leaders have reopened the country's airspace to all commercial flights after closing it on August 6th, after they seized power in a coup, a transport ministry spokesman said on Monday. The closure had Air France and other European countries to suspend some flights and take longer routes across the African continent. So again, it was becoming problematic for neighboring African countries, ECOWAS, etc., and Niger does not want this. So again, I want to reiterate this point, and I highly suggest you go and look into drone operations. A lot of the drone operations were shut down because, again, this could have been a military threat. Who knows? This could have been the French. This could have been the U.S. Now, we don't know the exact details, but we do know at the beginning of this takeover, the U.S. military said we are not performing any sort of drone operations or really any sort of operations. In fact, I had even mentioned in a video that the U.S. Air Force is ready to leave if they have to leave. And I'm not trying to be biased, but U.S. military, again, I applaud you for keeping your mouth shut and making this the French's problem. Now, what's also interesting, I think we might as well add this while I was doing some research for this video. We're starting to get, again, another situation of a peaceful movement to get rid of the French. Niger now has like rap stars, music groups who are promoting the junta, promoting not democracy so much, but promoting, spill your voices. Go tell the French we don't want them anymore. But again, when you're doing it with song, it's all peace. There's no indication here. I'm not seeing any indication that they really want an all-out conflict. Again, this isn't an actual military official. Real quick, we have a really good question. If France is basically trapped, isn't the United States required to respond since they are allies? Yes and no. There's been absolutely zero indication that the United States wants anything to do with the French in Niger. Initially, when the United States went into Niger, Africa, the French welcomed the United States with open arms, and there was a mission since about 2001, 2002 to help fight militant groups. Now, as far as this really a lot of it is falling on the French's shoulders. The French have not even mentioned the United States. Interesting. Okay, now again, sorry, I'm really sick. I might burp. If you're watching this, especially if you live in the United States, sorry, I'm doing this live. This is nothing new. We have rappers in the United States Army. We have TikTokers. We have media personalities that make the U.S. military look cool. Meet the Army's first full-time rappers. This is a legitimate post dated back in February 8th with the observation post. The Army now has official rappers among its ranks. Hey, we have a $2 donation. Are these the same peeps in Paris? No, they are not, and I appreciate the $2 donation. The Army now has official rappers among its ranks with a mission to turn the service cool, finally. Staff Sergeants Lamar Riddick and Nicholas Feemster were selected as the first two vocalists with the U.S. Army Field Band to serve as full-time rappers. So again, when you're seeing images like this...
Je fais les chansons militaires pour galvaniser nos vaillants soldats qui sont sur le terrain. Voilà.
Guys, they're doing the exact same thing that every major Western military does. And again, I do think we need to look at all the evidence, and I really do stand by. It looks like Niger has trapped the French troops. They've opened up the airspace. What more do you want, France? Now we've opened up the airspace between the French. If you want vacation tourism, if you want to cross across the African continent, you can now fly over Niger. We're using democracy. You gave us democracy. You gave us this political system where we can now voice our opinions. So the French are looking, again, pretty bad, really bad. And I don't know how ECOWAS is going to be able to turn this because, again, even from ECOWAS, which is a collection of African nations, if you're not aware, which Niger is a part of, have cut supplies to Niger, have cut electricity, have done things like that. Again, I think this is an ultimate power move from Niger, looking from the outside in. Niger has figured out a way to turn this against the French, and I think the French are going to have a very difficult time to figure out this one. Because, again, now if the French look violent, the U.S. military especially is not going to be taking part of that. The U.S. is all about democracy, is all about peace, and the U.S. has stayed out of everything and has said, we want democracy, we want peace. It'll be the biggest hypocrite move ever, and the U.S. Special Forces have worked extremely hard to make sure stuff like this doesn't happen. Again, I am fully convinced that the U.S. Special Forces who went in there in 2001, a lot of them have trained the now juntas. They're keeping relations because the juntas know that the U.S. Special Forces and drone assets are there for good reasons, not for... uranium deposits? Yeah. So anyway, I am extremely sick. I feel like I'm about to pass out. If you guys want to do me the biggest favor ever, I am going to post this live stream. Please comment on the posted video. It helps out a ton. It helps drive the conversation. And I like to see what you guys all have to say. I miss a ton of comments over here. So again, please comment on the posted video, and I hope to see you guys soon. I'm literally about to pass out. I love all you guys, and I hope you guys all learned something. See you guys later.